like to talk a little bit this morning about what happens if we move from design to design thinking. Now this rather old photo up there, and that connection is change. In times of change, we need new alternatives, new ideas. Now, Brunel worked at the height of the Industrial Revolution when all of life and our economy was being reinvented. Now, the industrial systems of Brunel's time have run their course, and indeed, they're part of the problem today. But again, we're in the midst of massive change. And that change is forcing us to question quite fundamental aspects of our society. How we keep ourselves healthy, how we govern ourselves, how we educate ourselves, how we keep ourselves secure. And in these times of change, we need these new choices because our existing solutions are simply becoming obsolete. So why design thinking? Because it gives us a new way of tackling problems. Instead of defaulting to our normal convergent approach, where we make the best choice out of available alternatives, it encourages us to take a divergent approach, to explore new alternatives, new solutions, new ideas that have not existed before. But before we go through that process of divergence, there's actually quite an important first step. And that's, what is the question that we're trying to answer? What's the design brief? Now, Brunel may have asked a question like this: how do I take a train from London to New York? But what are the kinds of questions that we might ask today? So these are some that we've been asked to think about recently. And one in particular is one that we're working on with the Acumen Fund in a project that's been funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. How might we improve access to safe drinking water for the world's poorest people, and at the same time stimulate innovation amongst local water providers? So instead of having a bunch of American designers come up with new ideas that may or may not have been appropriate, we took a sort of a more open, collaborative and participative approach. We teamed designers and investment experts up with 11 water organizations across India. And through workshops, they developed innovative new products, services, and business models. We hosted a competition and then funded 5 of those organizations to develop their ideas. So they developed and iterated these ideas, and then IDEO and Acumen spent several weeks working with them to help design new social marketing campaigns, community outreach strategies, business models, new water vessels for storing water, and carts for delivering water. Some of those ideas are just getting launched into the market, and the same process is just getting underway with NGOs in East Africa. So for me, this project shows kind of how far we can go from some of those sort of small things that I was working on at the beginning of my career. That by focusing on the needs of humans, by using prototypes to move ideas along quickly, by getting the process out of the hands of designers, and getting the active participation of the community, we can tackle bigger and more interesting questions. And just like Brunel, by focusing on systems, we can have a bigger impact. So that's one thing that we've been working on. I'd actually be quite interested, and perhaps more interested, to know what this community thinks we could work on. What kinds of questions do we think design thinking could be used to tackle? And if you've got any ideas, then feel free. You can post them to Twitter. There's a hashtag there that you can use, CBDQ. And the list looked something like this a little while ago. And of course, you can search to find the questions that you're interested in by using the same hash code. So, I'd like to believe that design thinking actually can make a difference, that it can help create new ideas and new innovations beyond the latest high street products. To do that, I think we have to take a more expansive view of design, more like Brunel, less a domain of a professional priesthood. And the first step is to start asking the right questions. Thank you very much.